We're all taught that money equals power, right? That it buys freedom, security, the whole deal. But what if that's completely backward? What if the very act of chasing money actually makes you weaker and way easier to control? In this explainer, we're going to tear down that idea and look at something radical: how to become truly untouchable by completely changing how you think about money. And boom, here it is, the one idea that flips everything on its head. The constant hustle for a bigger paycheck, it's not really about ambition. It's about managing a deep, deep fear. So let's really dig into what that means. Okay, so first up, we're going to talk about the money trap. We're going to get into the real psychological engine that drives this constant chase for more. And I promise you, the answer is probably not what you're thinking. Let's just ask the question straight up. Why the endless hustle? Why are we always chasing? Now, if your first thought is for the luxuries, the nice car, the big house, we're not even close. The real reason is something way more primal than that. See, this totally reframes the whole thing. The chase isn't about what you can buy. It's about this gut-level fear of being forgotten, of becoming irrelevant in a world that just quietly replaces people. That steady income, it starts to feel like proof that you still exist, that you matter. Money becomes this kind of emotional insurance policy against being disposable. But chasing things out of fear, well, that always has a cost, doesn't it? And this one comes with a steep and often invisible price tag. So let's move on and see what that looks like. We're talking about the cost of the chase, the hidden price of so-called productivity. Think about it. The second you make getting that next paycheck your number one priority, you willingly hand over your autonomy. You step into a game where someone else sets the rules, someone else owns the clock, and someone else dictates the pace. So we tell ourselves we're chasing money for freedom and opportunity. But what's the reality? It's often the exact opposite. It's dependency on that paycheck. It's compliance with whatever is demanded of you. And it's a routine that makes you incredibly predictable. What looks like being relevant is actually just you becoming a readable, manageable part of someone else's machine. And this leads to a state that some call being a movable man or, a movable person. Your urgent need for cash makes you easy to manage. Your decisions get rushed, your calendar gets packed by other people, and your next move becomes so predictable that you become easy to control. Okay, so if that's the trap, how do you get out? Well, that brings us to the core concept here, and it's a powerful one: becoming untouchable. And this isn't just some clever tactic, it's a whole new way of thinking about power. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The path to becoming untouchable, it does not start with your bank account. That's not the first move. Nope, it starts inside your own head. It's an internal shift. Before these untouchable people are richer, they are calmer. Their decisions slow way down. Those knee-jerk reactions, they just disappear. And here it is. This is the real definition of autonomy, of true power. It isn't having enough money to say yes to anything you want. It's having the internal calm and independence to say no, without that wave of panic washing over you, that fear that you're going to lose everything. That is the foundation of real power. So how do you get that calmness? How do you build up that power to say no? Well, that brings us to our next section, the power of stillness. And believe me, this is your most valuable, most strategic asset. So we have to redefine what power even is. True power isn't control over your income, it's control over your time. As the source material puts it, time is the real asset that money only pretends to be. So what does this control over time, this stillness, actually get you? It gives you a massive strategic advantage. Suddenly, you can't be rushed. All that external pressure, all that urgency, it loses its effect on you. And in a world where everyone else is reacting frantically to everything, your deliberate stillness, that becomes a form of dominance. You move when you choose to move, not when you're pushed. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? I'm going to be honest, it's not easy, and it is definitely not quick. Our final section is the path to depth, and it lays out the really hard steps to building this kind of untouchable leverage. The path is completely counterintuitive. Step 1, and this is maybe the hardest part. You have to tolerate looking unsuccessful for a while, maybe longer than most people can stomach. Step 2, you have to detach your own self-worth from what other people think. Stop performing for social approval. And then finally, in that quiet, pressure-free space you've carved out for yourself, you build a depth of skill or knowledge that is so unique it can't be easily copied or replaced. It's a brilliant strategy, really.
By seeming to fail, or at least not succeeding on that normal, visible timeline everyone else is on, you get underestimated. Nobody's watching you, so nobody's trying to interfere or tell you what to do. This apparent failure becomes your shield, giving you this space you need to build a real strength, completely undisturbed.
So let's put it all together and just look at the contrast here. The readable person, that's the movable person we talked about, they react to whatever incentives are dangled in front of them. They explain their actions. They submit to the pace set by others. They are easy to control. But the untouchable person, they insulate themselves. They don't react to obvious bait. They replace explanation with silence, and they replace reaction with a deliberate delay. They become impossible to read, and therefore impossible to control.
And really, the ultimate takeaway is this one powerful idea. The goal isn't to be the fastest or the richest person inside the system. The goal is to be unmovable by the system.
So I'll leave you with this one question to really chew on. We're all in constant motion, right? We're all busy, we're all chasing something. But what are you trading away for that feeling of motion? Is it your time? Is it your autonomy? Is it your power to just say no? That's something worth thinking about.